Welcome to LifePoint, a ministry focused on helping you find a real life. Author and teacher of the gospel for over 30 years, Pastor Dell offers hope by guiding you step by step to the abundant life that God has for you. Let's join Pastor Dell now for LifePoint.
Welcome to LifePoint, your path to real life. I'm Pastor Dell Phillips. I'm your host for LifePoint, and it is just great to have you joining in on our program today. As you know, we have been in a series for quite some time dealing with life in the book of Proverbs. This is going to be our conclusion for this segment of the series. So I want you to really pay close attention to this final instructional moment that we'll have from Proverbs. So let's begin with our journal reading for today to get us set up. Your path should be a light for others to follow. I want you to consider this fact that every believer has someone who's watching them. Somebody is following you. You might not even be aware of it. You might not even notice it. Somebody is following you, maybe even from a distance. Some people could be following you right up close and you're not even aware that they're paying attention to how you respond, how you react to the circumstances and situations that surround you in life. Today, we're going to look at a final passage in Proverbs that will talk to us about the light that should be shining, leaving a path, direction behind for others to follow. The entire book of Proverbs actually is a testimonial. It is a journal, if you will, of the life messages, the truths that Solomon passes on that Solomon has received from his father, and that's being passed on to the descendants, the children, the offspring of Solomon. Somebody else who is following after truth that one has already discovered. So I want to encourage you today to consider who might be following you. More about that when we come back from this message.
Many of us have spent years roaming down curious paths looking for our destiny. In our quest to satisfy our desire for happiness and our need for fulfillment, we have meandered down many different paths that it seems in times that we have lost our way. Now we are not sure of what we want. We don't quite know what would make us happy or content. We need help. We need directions. We need someone to point us to the single distinct path that leads to real life. This interactive DVD and workbook is designed to help you find the path that leads to real life. Order now so you can begin a new path and start getting the most out of life today. Workbook and interactive DVD are available online now for a ministry donation of $15 or more at www.lifepoint4.me. Or write to us at LifePoint Ministries, P.O. Box 201334, Denver, Colorado 80220.
All right, I want you to check us out on our website, www.lifepoint4.me, LifePoint, the number 4.me, so that you can take advantage of some of the ministry offerings, the DVD workbook that you just saw during the station break there. You're able to make a purchase for that online. You can find the DVD workbook series that best suits where you are in life right now. I believe it will speak to you tremendously, give you an opportunity to take advantage of the video messages as well as a digital text outline where you can read along as you listen to the word ministry on the video. So each package has up to 3 videos in the series, and will give you an opportunity to find some truths that you can either rehearse for some that might have viewed them before, or for some that may not have heard some of these principles shared here on the broadcast. It gives you an opportunity to make use of them in your day-to-day practical instructions for understanding how to walk in life. Also, while you are on the website, make sure you check us out on Facebook. We do have a growing family of those who are connected to LifePoint through Facebook on the internet, and we'd like for you to become a part of that conversation that takes place every single week on Facebook. All right, now let's take a look at the fourth chapter of the book of Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 18 and verse 19. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked, verse 19, is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. This is the conclusion message that I want to use to kind of wrap up this special series that we've done for the life we find in the book of Proverbs. The first thing that I want to address here, it says, the path of the just is as a shining light. We're talking about those who are justified. It says the path of the just, those who are justified. And we need to understand the principle of justification. Justification is putting something into alignment or putting it in its proper place, in its proper order. So when it says, but the just are as a shining light, we're talking about those who have been aligned, perhaps more specifically or correctly realigned. So it implies, justification implies something is out of place, something is out of alignment, and someone has come and set it into its proper place. So now we're talking about the just. That would be believers whose lives that were out of order, God has put them in order. Remember when we earlier in this segment of our series, we talked about wisdom, what wisdom is, how it is defined. It is God's divine plan for our life. And God's divine plan actually gives us order, gives us direction. It identifies where we should be in the course or on the course of life. So justification is not a work of man. Justification is the work of God. Justification is God taking a life that is extremely out of order, in disarray, taking that life, shifting it, establishing His divine plan for it, and giving the opportunity for us to become spiritually functional in life. Remember, we learned that we shouldn't be chasing after happiness because that's a failed pursuit. But we should be pursuing, seeking after God's divine plan. And when we seek after God's plan, happy is the man. We will find our happiness in finding God's plan. Because now my life that was out of order has been put in order, aligned, justified. Now here's the reason I'm harping on that. Because that's not what we have accomplished. That's what God has done for us. So the just, those who God has realigned, those who God has fixed. And how many people in the room can say, God fixed me? Yeah, me included. God fixed me, put me in my proper place, gave me purpose, unveiled His plan, His purpose for my life. The just should be a shining light. Watch this. Those of us who have been repaired by God, we should be God's greatest testimony in the earth. Our lives are a testimony within themselves. What God has done to repair and to restore and to fix me is a shining light for others to see. Ooh, I like this part. Watch this. A light that shineth. That's what the passage says. But the path of the just, watch this, the path of the just is as a shining light. My path, the trail that I leave behind should be a shining light, shining to the world around me to see that the path that I'm on is the path that God justified, the path that God fixed for me. I'm not functioning because of my own ability. I'm not justified because of my own personal accomplishments, but the path that I leave behind is evidence of what God has done for me. I'm telling you, those of us who have been fixed by God, we should be leaving evidence behind for others to see what God can do. Man, if he can fix Dale Phillips, then he could fix anybody. If he could fix you, put you in place, realign you, man, as messy as you were, your path should be leaving a light for everybody to see what God can do. Here's the truth. You can't hide the work of God. Ooh, I like this. When God does something in creation, it's not hidden. When God crafted the sun and the moon and the stars, they're not hiding. When God deposited the fish in the sea, they're not hiding. When God put the animals, the creeping things in the forest and in the fields, they're not hiding. They're there in plain sight. The mountains, the oceans, all of God's creation is right there in plain sight for people to point to it and say, man, that was a magnificent sunrise. And that was an incredible sunset. Look at the grassy green foliage. Look at the artistry of creation and ask the question, who's responsible for that? All of God's creation leaves a shining path behind it. Evidence of the work that God did. Oh, I could really mess with this because you do understand. In creation, book of Genesis, it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth, watch this, was without form. Ooh, it was shapeless, lifeless, unidentifiable. It had lost its functionality. It was, watch this, it was not in alignment. It needed to be realigned, to be adjusted, to be fixed, to be corrected. And when God shaped and formed and properly fitted this world as we know it, it becomes a testimony to the handiwork of God, God's signature all over the mess that the earth was. He fixed it, gave it form, gave it purpose, gave it life. He did the same thing for you, did the same thing for me. He aligned my life, justified, put me in right order. My life being in alignment leaves a path, shining light for all to see, because you can't hide God's work. You can't hide what God is doing. It's self-evident. We need to stop pretending that we have arrived at some kind of spiritual hierarchy on our own, that we have become something special because, we go to church 10 times a week and we can read and quote the Bible and scriptures, in the Hebrew and in the Greek, and we can, we have this gift, we have this ability, we have this strength, we have, this accomplishment, forgetting that you would have none of that if it wasn't for the work of God. So watch this. We shouldn't be leaving a trail that leads back to Dale Phillips. I should be leading a trail that points to the God of creation, the God that fixed me. That's, if I wanted to put a notation on who I am, I should say, hey, I'm the guy that God fixed. I'm the one who was a mess, but God fixed me. If I have anything that I want to pass on to anybody, it is simply this, that if God can fix me, he can fix you. I should be leaving that light behind. It's self-evident that God has been here. A shining light. It's visible. It's seeable. It's not in hiding. Can I ask all the believers to come out of hiding? Stop hiding behind religion. Stop hiding behind, the work of man. Stop hiding behind, denominational coverings. Let's put all that stuff aside and let people see the real you. Yeah. I know some of them might remember when and remember what you did, but you ought to be able to say, but God has fixed me. I was a mess, but God saved me. He fixed me, put my life back together. So watch this. But the path of the just is as the shining light. Now watch this point. That shineth more and more unto the perfect day. Now, I tried to share with you in previous programs that just because we get on the right path doesn't mean that everything is going to go right for the rest of our life. Just because God has aligned us, put us back in position, doesn't mean that we don't take detours, that things still don't go astray. But here's what I want you to grab hold of, this revelation. It says that the light shines more and more as I approach the perfect day. So every day, my light shines more and more than it did yesterday or last week or last month. More and more through good times, thank God for that, but also through bad times when I'm making the right decisions and even in the wrong decisions that I make. The light shines more and more. Now let me help you with this, because somebody's already saying, oh, well, Pastor, how can the light shine when I'm messing up, when I'm in darkness, when I'm going in the wrong direction? Maybe you might have answered it yourself. Do you understand that the work that God is doing in me, the work that God is doing in you, that it shows up no matter what? More and more. As a matter of fact, where I am right now, even when I do mess up, it is even more evident to me what God is doing in my life. And I'm like thinking, dude, you really shouldn't have messed that up, because it's so obvious what God is doing in your life. I can see more and more of God's signature in my life every single day. More and more, the light shines. Even in bad times, the light still shines. In good times, we thank God for the evidence of his work. But I'm here to tell you that the light of God is shining through no matter what. Even in your troubled times, God's light needs to shine through you. You see, there are some people that think God can't use their life as a testimonial unto him, that God can't get any glory from their life when they're going through tough times, because we're in a quagmire. We're so burdened down with the challenges and the issues and the tribulations that we are facing. We just don't think that there's any opportunity for God to use me, unless everything is going right. Just because your life is aligned rightly doesn't mean everything's going to always go right. It's not going to always go your way. Let me tell you that even in the seasons or on the days when we don't feel usable, we don't feel as if it's possible for God to get a testimony from my life, I'm here to tell you that even on your worst day, God still shining through. Because the evidence of his signature, the evidence of his presence, the evidence of his handiwork doesn't just show up in good times, but it shows up in bad times. It shows up in hard times. It shows up even in our trials, in our tribulation. Let me help you out a little bit. David said that God was a very present help in the time of trouble. That God shows up when we're in trouble, when we are in the midst of difficulty, when in the midst of tribulation. God is still present. He's not absent, still present in the midst of our trouble. So the light shines more and more. More I live, the more God's light shines. The more I go through challenges in life, the more God's light shines more and more unto a perfect day. Why? Because God is always turning us towards his perfect day. In the end, what God is saying, I'm going to finish, I'm going to complete the work that I've begun in your life. So the light keeps shining more and more towards that day of completion, towards that time of God finishing what he's doing in me, in my life. I can hear the scriptures saying that the good work, watch this, that I've begun into you, I will complete it. I will finish it. I'm not going to fail to complete what I have begun. God speaking concerning the work he's doing in our life. So we are seeing the light shine more and more as we move towards that perfect day. Now, I want to close with this. The day of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. Here's a grave distinction between the just and the wicked. See, it's not behavior that is distinctively different. I know we like to measure each other against behavior. You know, the wicked drink, the just don't. Really? Okay. The wicked smoke, the just don't. The wicked, chase after this and that, and the just don't. We want to measure and compare behavior, but I want you to see the revelation in this passage. It says that the wicked, when they are in darkness, they don't know what they're stumbling over. Why? Because they're in the dark, absence of light. They don't know God's purpose, God's divine plan for their life. So when they stumble, they continue to stumble because they have no light. The difference, the great distinction between the just and the wicked is not behavior. The great distinction is that the just have light, the wicked do not. So when I stumble, I can at least see, that's what I tripped over. Guess what? I'm going to avoid, here's that word again. I'm going to avoid that the next time. I'm going to pass by that the next time because now I can see what I'm stumbling over. The wicked can't see it. No light, no illumination, no ability to even recognize what they're tripping over. They can't even recognize that is not that they don't know how to behave, is that they don't have direction in life. That's the grave distinction here. The darkness that the wicked reside in prevents them from seeing their way. You and I should be so grateful that we can see where we're going. We can see when we stumble, what we stumbled over. We can also see when we come back to that same place, when we know how to avoid and walk around and pass over to the other side. We can also thank God for being able to see our way around. So we, the just, those who have been aligned, those who have been fixed by God, we're the only ones that can really lead somebody else. We become a shining path. We are a shining path for all of those who can't see their way. You, the one who was broken, who needed to be repaired. You, the one who was stumbling all over the place. But now God's fixed you. And the Bible says that the steps of a righteous man, another word for alignment, making right, putting in the right place. The righteous man, his steps are ordered, ordained by God. Now, those who were lost in our own darkness, but we now have the glorious light of salvation. Now we can see our way. We can leave a path for others to follow. So somebody's following you. If you're the just, you're the person that God has fixed, somebody's following you. Because somebody who had the same problem you have, somebody who stumbled over the same issues you stumble over, they're trying to figure out how to get out of their madness, how to get out of their mess. The wicked are only going to be able to find their way if those of us who have light keep shining. So we don't stand here, we don't come to condemn those who are in darkness. We come to just turn the light on. Let them see. Let them see what God has done in your life. Let somebody see that you are just like them. There's no difference save the fact that God came and fixed you. I'm telling you, somebody out there who wants to be fixed, somebody out there who wants to get on the right path, they just need somebody to turn the light on. And if you could just leave the light so I can follow. You know, I got to wrap it up with this. See, as believers, we have to be so cautious not to try to tell people that, well, when you can scale the highest mountain of righteousness, when you can leave behind all of your sins and all of your problems, then, you know, God will do something for you. But come on, let's tell the truth. That's not what happened with you. God came and found you right in your mess, fixed you right where you were broken. If he could fix you, I told you, if he could fix you, he could fix anybody else. So just leave the light. Shine the light. Let them see what God has done in your life. See, that means we have to be vulnerable enough. We have to be transparent enough for them to see that we're just as human as anybody else, just as many flaws and problems as anybody else. But the difference between us is now I can see where I was stumbling. God's fixed me. He can do the same for you. Somebody might be hearing that right now who thought that you were helpless, beyond repair. This is Pastor Dell telling you right now, you're not beyond repair. Whatever issue you're facing right now in life, God can fix you. Can put you in alignment, put you in the right place so that you can discover God's divine plan, his wisdom for you. God, I'm praying right now for every person viewing this program that they'll be able to hear this truth and be able to allow your light to come in to their life. This I pray, ask, and believe in the name of Jesus. Go to your telephone right now. If you just prayed with me, call us at this number you see on the bottom of your screen. Some of our prayer partners will respond to you, pray with you, encourage you. You can take advantage of the program being offered here, LP66. You can order it on the website there. You see at the bottom of your screen. You can also place that order when you call in on the phone line. I thank God for this series. And if it's been a blessing to you, hey, why don't you hit us at the website? Just let us know, hey, I really enjoyed the teaching, Life in Proverbs. This is Pastor Dell encouraging you to stay on the path that leads to real life.
Thank you for joining us today on LifePoint for this exciting new ministry that will help you move beyond the obstacles that prevent you from living real life. To receive a copy of today's message, we invite you to visit us on our website at lifepoint4.me. You can order your CD today for just $10 or DVD for just $15. A study guide for today's teaching is also available for a donation of any amount. And be sure to follow us on Facebook for excerpts of upcoming teachings and dynamic devotionals. LifePoint is brought to you by the prayers and generous support of viewers like you. So we invite you to partner with us by sending your tax-deductible contribution to LifePoint, P.O. Box 201-334, Denver, Colorado 80220. Until then, we'll see you next time as we continue on our journey to real life.